Hey everyone, it's Josh Thomas here from TheBitBlock.com to once again take you back to Nintendo's pixelated past with our video review for NES Remix 2. So just like the original title, NES Remix 2 is all about taking classic Nintendo games and creating little challenges out of them. This time around though, the selection of games that are featured is definitely improved. There's Super Mario Bros. 3, Punch-Out!, Metroid, Zelda 2, Kid Icarus, and Kirby's Adventure, just to name a few. Each game has a different number of challenges to it, but disappointingly, just like the original NES remix, the first few stages in every game are very bland and overly tutorialized. In other words, their objective is way too simple. I mean, it's stuff like pick up a shell, and collect the power-up, or even fly. Yeah, so not too inventive and not too fun. They're really more like things you would do in the actual game if you were playing the actual game. The real star of the show here are the remix challenges. In fact, I wish the entire game were nothing but remix challenges. So, let's go over a few of them. This one has you trying to ignore the fake clone Marios and make it to the end goal in Super Mario Bros. 3. It's kind of tricky, believe me. And here's a challenge where you play as Toad in Kirby's world, and you have to take out some enemies by tossing blocks at them. In this one, Samus is automatically running through a level, and you have to time your jumps just right to avoid taking any damage. And then finally, in this challenge, you have to eliminate a virus in Dr. Mario, but it's moving around from side to side. The remixes are almost always clever and fun to compete in. The standard challenges are, well, okay, but they don't measure up by comparison. This game's visuals are all about retro-iness, so you won't really find anything too cutting edge here. But you know, 8-bit visuals, in my opinion, have aged very well. They've become their own unique look that, to this day, many people adore. And because NES Remix 2 features even more recognizable games, I think seeing Punch-Out!, Kirby's Adventure, Super Mario Bros. 3, all in one game is kinda neat. The remix challenges add in additional colors and props to make them more visually interesting, which I really like. For the most part, the soundtrack here is directly lifted from each original game, which is kind of interesting because, you know, you get to hear a lot of totally classic music in one experience. But because it's NES Remix, it would have definitely been nice to hear more remixes in the music. I think a lot of people love nostalgic 8-bit sound effects, and the various music tracks that play in menus and on the title screen are pretty great. They're like incredibly catchy. Don't be surprised if you find yourself dancing around to them in your living room at 3 o'clock in the morning in your underwear. I'm not saying that's something that I do, but it wouldn't surprise me if you did. NES Remix 2 has hundreds of retro minigame challenges to take on. Each one of them features a ranking system, and trying to collect 3 rainbow stars on each and every minigame is definitely going to take you plenty of time. This game's pretty darn addictive. And additionally, this time around you can check out the somewhat quirky Super Luigi Brothers. It's basically just Super Mario Brothers, but you play as Luigi and you run through all of the stages backwards. Honestly, it's okay, but it's nothing too special. There's also a championship mode where you collect 50 coins in Super Mario Bros., and you move on to collecting 25 coins in Super Mario Bros. 3, and finally, you play for points in Dr. Mario. And your final score will be uploaded online to a leaderboard, so you can then see how you rank across the world. And then finally, of course, just like in the last game, as you play, you will be rewarded with these little bits, which will fill up a meter, and you will unlock stamps by doing that, which can be used on Miiverse when you make posts. Honestly, I don't really like Miiverse, and I completely ignore it and have no plans of using it, so I really wish there was sort of maybe some other collectible in the game. Alright, so honestly, this game is incredibly similar to the original title. In fact, I'm surprised all of this isn't just downloadable add-on content. I think making Super NES Remix would have made for a much more interesting sequel. Following that could be N64 Remix, and it would have made the perfect trilogy. Some of the basic challenges are way too simple and flat out unoriginal, and the entire game really should just be all remix stages. Having said all that though, overall, I find NES Remix 2 very addictive and it's charming. there's no shortage of games and challenges to keep you busy for many, many hours. If you liked the first game and you want more of the same, you should be pretty happy here. TheBitBlock is rewarding NES Remix 2 with 8 bits of retro-y goodness out of 10. Hey, thanks for watching this video from TheBitBlock. If you want to stay up to date on tons of exclusive Nintendo content, be sure to subscribe by clicking here. And if you don't want the fun to end, you can check out more Nintendo coverage by clicking over here.